Student Athlete of the Week is sponsored by Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law and WTAP. This is home.
Allison Huck is a senior softball player for the Waterford Lady Cats, as well as a member of the golf team and a statistician for the girls basketball team. Being a student athlete to her means being well-rounded in all phases and managing her time effectively.
I think my definition of a student athlete would be someone who values their academics as well as their physical sports and stuff like that. Just being able to balance it and make sure you're a well-rounded person.
Speaking of managing time, Huck has found ways to balance her busy schedule throughout her 4 years at Waterford.
It definitely takes a lot of balance and a lot of time to do that. Keeping my academics comes first, obviously. I make sure I have a study hall at school so that I can work on stuff there and make sure I'm managing my time. Make sure that I practice at home, but also putting my academics first and just being able to work around everything.
There are a couple people at the school who have made a significant impact on Huck and have helped her succeed both in the classroom and on the field.
Definitely my head softball coach, Mr. Curry Ryan. He's always been there for me. I know he's been with me for the past 3 sports this year, so he's always there and making sure I'm pushed to be my best. And then my teachers, I would definitely include Mrs. Morris, my managed transition teacher. She taught me a lot about balance and seeking out opportunities that will help me be better and be a well-rounded person.
Looking back on her time in high school, Huck points to this year's golf season as one of her favorite memories.
Definitely this year in golf, we had a whole new team because this is my first year playing too, and just being really carefree, working towards a goal, but just being able to let go and have fun together and just make it about having an enjoyable experience.
Following high school, Huck will be going to Ohio Northern with plans of studying civil engineering with a focus on an environmental pathway. From Waterford, Griffin Albright, WTAP Sports, this is home.